Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my weeks 9 and 10 pregnancy update. These past 2 weeks have been so weird, so bizarre, and so different than weeks 7 and 8. So different. So let's jump in. First, I'll just say I'm wearing my, it's not sponsored, I'm wearing my robe from Pink Blush Maternity. I love it. I wear it all the time, especially now because I cannot be bothered to get dressed usually ever during this time. So sporting my Pink Blush Maternity robe, I would say if you are an expecting mama, or even I got this when I wasn't expecting. I got this a few months ago and I would recommend getting it true to size. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about week 9. So I wrote down, started the week feeling awful and so nauseous all day and was about to call the doctor. So for my week 7 and 8 update, I talked about how my nausea and exhaustion were just through the roof. And the beginning of week 9 was really the tipping point. I was truly this close to calling the doctor and asking about medication because it just got to the point where I could not function. I couldn't help with anything around the house. I couldn't help my husband with Hugo. And of course, the silver lining is that my husband is home right now and can help me out whenever I needed him to help me out. But at the same time, I was like, I feel terrible. I feel so awful. And I want to be able to have some sort of like functionality, is that a word? I want to be able to function during the day like a relatively normal human being. So truly, I was this close to calling the doctor. But since I uploaded that update video, since I uploaded my week 7 and 8 update video, since I said out loud I'm going to call the doctor for medication, things slowly started getting better. Things slowly started easing. My nausea slowly started becoming a lot more manageable. I wrote down for week 9, I tried eating small meals every time I felt nauseous and felt worse those 2 days. So a lot of people recommended, and I remembered this from my first pregnancy, eating small meals throughout the day and that kind of keeping the nausea at bay. And I think that works for a lot of people. I tried that for about 2 days, and although I did find that it certainly helped, I ended up feeling worse by the end of the day because I just felt so full and so heavy. I found that like eating during this pregnancy has been really tricky, a lot trickier than it was with Hugo, and I don't quite understand like the full picture of that just yet because it is still so early. But with this pregnancy, I find that I have to like really be careful with what I eat. I don't know if this is age related or it's just, you know, every pregnancy is different, which I've really realized this go around. But if I eat certain foods, it makes me feel really heavy. If I eat too much, it makes me feel really heavy. And like, not heavy as in like, oh, I ate too much, like my stomach's so full, and like my stomach bloats all of a sudden, like my stomach feels heavier and it hurts my back, and I just don't feel good. And so that was tough those 2 days because I found that eating a lot throughout the day, just like I overdid it. And there's such a fine balance for me this pregnancy between eating enough so that because like most pregnant women, my stomach is like constantly rumbling. It's rumbling right now. Like I do find that I'm hungry often, but it's this weird balancing act between making sure that I'm eating enough so that I'm not hungry, but not overeating because then I'll feel sick. It's super bizarre. But yeah, I felt terrible those 2 days. So I decided after those 2 days, I think that was like 9 weeks, 2 days, and then 9 weeks, 3 days, I decided, okay, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna eat normally. And if I still feel awful, I'm gonna call the doctor. So again, I kind of put that ultimatum on myself and I said, I'm not eating more. I'm just gonna eat normally, like eating how I would during this pregnancy, not anymore. And if I feel terrible, I'm gonna call the doctor and I'm gonna get the medication. So then, again, like magic, the next day I woke up and I felt a lot better. And I don't know. Because I know that with Hugo, my nausea did not go away until I want to say 13 weeks. This pregnancy has been so different, and just like that, I want to say it was around 9 weeks, 9 weeks, 5 days, things started to get better. I did write 9 weeks, 5 days. I'm not feeling nauseous during the day at all. My energy levels are okay. I'm still taking the magnesium at night, still sometimes napping depending on what time Hugo has woken up. So if you're brand new here, my toddler, my sweet, sweet toddler who I love, does not sleep very well. He sleeps through the night sometimes. We did have a little stretch there for a few days where he was waking up at like 2 a.m. But he does wake up very early, so he'll go to bed around 7:30, 8 p.m. and then he'll usually be up anywhere between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. So, and that's just like, it's always been that way, always. So if I get up with him, my husband and I have been trading off during this time. So some mornings Jeff will get up with him and some mornings I'll get up with him. And the mornings that I get up with him, if he wakes up really early at like 5 a.m., obviously I need a nap. And I think that's sort of like, regardless of the pregnancy, I would need to nap anyway because it's so early. So 9 weeks, 5 days, things started to turn around, and I really can only like thank God that they did, because again, that's in comparison to my first pregnancy, which is, it's hard not to compare. In comparison, that's so incredibly different than what I experienced. And I was really kind of preparing myself for experiencing the nausea up to 13 weeks, if not for longer, which is why I was so heavily considering the medication. But the fact that now, today, I am 10 weeks and 4 days, yes, or no, 10 weeks, 5 days. Yeah, I'm 10 weeks, 5 days today, and the nausea is completely gone. So it's kind of incredible, and I'm just so thankful that my prayers were answered, because that was so tough. I did write that I was getting a little bit nauseous at night during that tail end of that 9th week, and so bloated. So let me talk about the bloating for a second, because that is still something that I'm experiencing now. I want to say around 2 p.m. onward, my stomach gets so bloated, and it's almost like in the mornings I look 10 weeks pregnant, right? Like there's a little pooch there. Is it food? Is it the baby? No one really knows, but like totally cool, like get it. By the evening, y'all, I look like 25 weeks pregnant. Like I look huge. And it's so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable. It feels heavy. It just feels, it doesn't feel fun. It doesn't feel fun. And I know that that's relatively normal. There's nothing that I'm eating that's really triggering it, I don't think. I think it's just that like by the end of the day, normal pregnancy bloating, it just feels harder this time around. And I don't know if that's because my body is a little bit older or because I'm chasing a toddler around, there's more to do. But I've just found that the bloating these past 2 weeks has been kind of tough. It's not unmanageable, and it's nothing that I'm worried or nervous about. It's just a weird and kind of annoying side effect to like normal pregnancy, is that like by the end of the day, you're just so much bigger than you are in the morning. I wrote eat a salad 9 weeks, 4 days. I feel like that's a win in my book. Guys, I have been eating pretty healthily. I've been eating really well, and I think that's another reason why I know that the bloating, like, it's this whole thing. And I'll talk about it now. It's like I've been trying to keep my weight in more of a manageable space this go around. I don't have a scale, so I don't know how much I gained, but I know that for my first doctor's appointment 3 weeks ago, I was 131 pounds, I believe. Yeah, I think it was 131, which is a little heavier than normal. Like normally I sit in like 126 to 128, so it's a little bit higher, but I wasn't working out before. I wasn't really doing anything to like shed those last few pounds. The struggle that I found these past few weeks is that I am craving healthier foods, which is great. I'm definitely eating better than I was with Hugo during this time. Remember with Hugo, I was eating like bags and bags of chips, 2 sandwiches, like not eating well at all. This go around, I am eating healthier. I am craving healthier foods, but I still feel, and this is like where the struggle, my like seat on the struggle bus comes in, is that I still feel like I have no control over like my body and how heavy my body is getting. Like I still feel like I'm gaining a lot of weight. And again, I don't have a scale, so I don't know exactly how much, and I've been tempted to like buy a scale, but I don't want to make myself crazy about it. I want to gain a healthy amount of weight. And the reason this is even coming up and the reason I'm even spending time talking about this is because I gained so much weight with Hugo, so much weight. I started my pregnancy at 122 and ended at 178. That's a lot of weight. And although a lot of it, most of it was water weight, I lost 20 pounds in 1 week. It was all water weight. A lot of it was Hugo, the placenta, like all that stuff. It still just felt like a lot, and I want to be more conscientious this go around of not gaining quite as much weight, but also I have this internal struggle because I know that a big part of it is out of my control. And so that's kind of something I've been trying to navigate, and I don't want to say like a stress I'm trying to navigate, but I guess it is becoming a bit of a stressful part of my days, is this like balance between, and it's weird because like I haven't really been having a lot of crazy cravings. Like even when I do want some chips, some salt and vinegar chips, which are amazing, or I want a few Mike and Ike's because like I love candy, honestly, like I am pretty reserved in how much I eat of those things, which like pat on my back because like I certainly can swing in the opposite direction. But I've been really reserved. I guess a lot of this is just anxiety over like how much I'm gonna weigh at my next appointment because I can already see that the weight's coming on. My big wish for this pregnancy obviously is that I'm just gaining a healthy amount of weight for the baby, and like whatever the baby needs, I'll put on, that's fine. I just don't want it to get really excessive. I don't know. There's no answer to that, and I don't know if some of you can relate to that or if this is like something that you guys are also feeling, but it is something that I just wanted to get off my chest because I know that in these appointments and as I gain more weight and more weight and more weight, and like I'm only 5'2", I'm 5'2", and like it really shows on a petite human like how much that weight is, right? Like over 50 pounds. So I'm really trying to keep it all manageable, and I just wanted to put that out there. So yeah, I also wrote down no real cravings and aversions are starting to calm down. So that gag reflex that has been really strong for the past few weeks has definitely calmed down. I was able to sit out in the living room while Jeff made Hugo's dinner last night, which is huge because for the past like 3 weeks, anytime Jeff would make Hugo's dinner, I'd have to go in the bedroom and I'd be like just breathing into my pillow the entire time because anything that Jeff would make him would make me want to throw up. So that's been huge. Again, like a big adding to that like turning point. I think hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm really sort of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel with this first trimester nausea and all the aversions. I talked to my endocrinologist, so if you don't watch my weekly vlogs, a little bit of a update on all of that. So my thyroid is something that has not been giving me trouble for the past like over 10 years, but it is something that genetically has impacted my family. My dad is on synthetic thyroid medication. My great aunt had to have her thyroid removed. So obviously it's just something that we've kept an eye on, and it is something I know that a lot of people have mentioned in my videos from years past, that my throat does tend to look a little enlarged sometimes, a little bit puffy. And I finally talked to someone who gave me such a clear picture, a clear overview of what's going on with my thyroid. So I have Hashimoto's disease, which is an autoimmune disease. That means my immune system attacks my thyroid, and it's a chronic illness, which just means that this is happening over time. It's not something that's happening all at once. It's not a pain that I feel right now. So over time, my immune system attacking my thyroid will cause my thyroid levels, my thyroid hormone levels to go down to a point where I would need medication. Luckily right now, the blood work that I had done before I got pregnant indicated that my thyroid levels were doing well. They were doing fine. I wouldn't need medication. However, because I'm pregnant, your thyroid has to produce more of that hormone, and we're not sure if right now my thyroid is able to keep up. So I'm getting blood work done soon. I want to say, wow, I think maybe it's next week. Yeah, I'm getting blood work done next week. Wow, that's crazy. This time goes by so fast. I'm getting blood work done next week, and my doctor ordered, on top of what my OB ordered some other thyroid testing to get done, so that we'll be able to tell if my thyroid levels are doing well or if they're really low. And if they are, then I'll need to be put on medication for the pregnancy. Honestly, I feel it's interesting because some people might hear that and feel really anxious and really nervous and upset, and I just felt really relieved because this is something that I feel like we've been going back and forth with for years, and no doctor has ever really just laid it out for me, been really clear about what I've been going through, what all the levels mean, and like where I am now. And this doctor was so wonderful in doing that. So I feel really confident. I feel really empowered by the information I was given. And yeah, it won't be fun to be on medication if that happens, but I'm just so grateful that both my OB and my endocrinologist know what's going on and that we're so proactive. My OB especially, she was so proactive in telling me like, okay, your thyroid looks a little enlarged, let's get it tested. And like, that's obviously not her specialty, but she was such a champion of mine. And then for my endocrinologist to just be so, I don't know, so clear and just so forthcoming with what's happening and what's going on, and so helpful, I just feel, again, really empowered. So we'll see in about a week and a bit if I need to be put on medication, and if I do, I'll just be taking a synthetic thyroid medication every day, once a day, I don't know. Yeah, that's the stuff with the endocrinologist. I'm still taking my prenatal vitamins. I'm still taking the magnesium. I'm taking actually both of them at night. It's just, this is kind of a comical reason, but the reason I'm not taking my prenatals during the day is because by the time evening rolls around, I've genuinely forgotten if I've taken them or not. And so I just found it so much easier to know that like, okay, I take them after I eat dinner, I take them with the magnesium, which has helped tremendously in calming me down and calming the restless leg syndrome, restless body syndrome. If you did not watch my last update, that was something that was really, really hard hitting and something that was preventing me from sleeping well, just super tough. And my doctor and a few of you recommended magnesium, and so I started taking that and I've been amazing. Let's talk briefly about week 10. I know I've been rambling about week 9 a lot, but week 10 has been kind of uneventful, which is fantastic. I will take it any day. The only thing with week 10 that is worth chatting about is that I've just been really hormonal, and that's been tough because it's like, it's mixed in. It's not just hormonal pregnancy hormones. It's also mixed in with the world we're currently living in and the conditions we're currently living within, if that makes sense. And I've just found that some days I feel really hopeful, really excited about things, and then other days or even just other moments I feel really down. And it's tough because it's like, is it pregnancy hormones or is it just the world we're living in? And I think it's definitely a mix of the two, but I don't think the hormones help. I'm usually like a pretty level-headed, rational person, and the hormones are definitely just taking me on like a wild roller coaster ride. Yesterday, for instance, was a beautiful morning. It was probably the warmest morning we've had. I live in the northeast of the United States, and the whole month of April, it was rainy and cold and gray, and it was really, really, really tough. And now that we're in May, we're getting some warmer days, some beautiful spring days, and that's helped my mood tremendously. Yesterday morning, it was gorgeous. We laid out. It was so beautiful. I felt so good. And then by the afternoon, it started getting a little colder, a little grayer out. But, you know, normally that wouldn't be such a trigger. I don't know. But yesterday afternoon, I felt terrible. So it was like, it's this kind of crazy hormonal ride that I'm trying to navigate. And so that's been really, when I think on week 10, that's kind of the most prominent symptom that I've been experiencing as a result of the pregnancy. So guys, that's my week 9 and 10 update. I'm gonna show you a belly shot now. So here's my 10-week belly from the side. I couldn't find my pink sports bra, of course, so broke that already. The side, other side, definitely not bloated right now, so this is a pretty good depiction of what my belly looks like. Yeah, that's it. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this update. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you in my next one.